What is going on, everybody? How are we doing today? It is Wednesday. It is 15 minutes from President Biden's address regarding the college tuition payments. And initially, when this information came out, it seems that maybe the market didn't quite like it. $10,000. It's like $10,000 forgiveness, $20,000 forgiveness for some other folks. I can't quite recall. We're going to get some information about it here. You can see up above me. I've figured out last time we tried to do this, last time we tried to live stream an event, we kind of got a little hairy with Jerome Powell a couple weeks back. So we got it all figured out now. We got Biden up above me, and we're going to go to him in about 15 minutes. When he starts talking, we're going to be paying attention to that. I have IWM up on my chart right now, and the reason why I've got IWM up on my chart right now is because, well, it's kind of the leader. It is the strongest of the three indices today, and I'm really focused personally on just what we've got going on across the indices. What does everything look like? You guys know that I like to trade based off of the trend. You know, very basic concept here: higher highs, higher lows equals uptrend, right? On IWM here, we have a really nice look, right? We've got multiple higher highs being made from this gap down on the 22nd, and we've got higher lows being put in. The other day we were talking, I can't remember if it was Monday or if it was last week, but the other day we were kind of live trading these falling wedge setups. We have a perfect example of that here on IWM. You made some lower lows, made higher lows on RSI. We broke out. We made a new high. We came back and we retested where we broke out from, and now we've made another new high. Pretty darn bullish. So that makes me wonder what is going on with SPY and what's going on with the Qs. How do they compare? Well, quite different. You know, we did get that same kind of look with the lower lows but higher lows on RSI, but we're just not seeing the same pattern here. SPY looking wildly weaker than IWM is looking. Clearly no new highs have been made, and we're just making lower lows. The only thing that might be happening here, we might be putting in a higher low this morning. So we're gonna have to wait and see how this plays out. Maybe something Biden says will kind of kickstart things. If we go to QQQ here, QQQ doesn't look a whole heck of a lot different. We do have that divergence, lower lows, higher lows on RSI, but yet we still have not been able to make a new high. We maybe are putting in a higher low here. So an interesting day on the books so far. Excited to see how the market reacts. I mean, we already know the news, so I can't imagine that there's going to be a big reaction here to what Biden says. But maybe there'll be something. Maybe he'll say something that'll drive things. You know, obviously the initial thought from folks is that if we're giving away a bunch more money to folks, if you're making it so that people don't have to pay these $10,000 loans, then maybe that $10,000 goes somewhere else, and maybe into the markets. You know, we'll have to kind of see what that's looking like, but that's kind of the general thesis that I was kind of building off of this morning. Would love to hear y'all's thoughts. I would love to know what you guys are thinking, just generally speaking, about the markets this morning. How are you feeling? Are you feeling good? Are you feeling bad? Are you feeling like you're not sure? Let me see here. I'm having a little bit of trouble seeing y'all's chats. Let me do something real quick. I hope everybody's doing good. I know I just kind of just slammed you guys with a bunch of information. But let's see here. Nevin, you said rut, row, raggy. What does that mean? USO follow-up. Not sure if you remember us talking about it last week. Calls performing well. Yeah, let's talk about USO. I know energy is crushing right now. Let's go to the daily here, Nevin, and kind of see where we're at. Interesting. All right, so for me, you know, this would be a spot where I would be a little keen to maybe be taking some off. You're filling a gap here above, right here, coming right into it today. Looks like we tagged it perfect. And you know, this would be a logical place for some people to be taking profits, especially if they bought off those lows. You're talking about a 10% move off of those $70 lows in 3 sessions. Excuse me. On the, on the options side, if you were buying these on Monday, these are handsomely in profit. So I would probably be keen to take some off, remove a little risk, and let things kind of play out the way that they're going to play out. If you're comfortable holding it, sure, by all means hold on, depending on, I don't remember how much time you said you had. I'm always going to anchor VWAP off that high because obviously that's quite important, and we're kind of failing right at that VWAP. So the next thing that I'd kind of be looking for if I were wanting to go long, or if I were long, I want to see this high. I want to see them take that high. So $80, $80.50. Definitely want to. Nice. Nevin, you got him on the anchored VWAP tap. Good for you, man. What a trade. That's a great trade. I would want to see them gain this high here. That would be kind of the first piece for me. If they can gain that high, then you then at least know that the trend is working in your favor. You've got the higher lows. You just haven't gotten quite the higher highs yet. I guess theoretically you could say we've gained August 11th high, but this is the really big one that we're after. So we really want to see that one get gained. And then from there, then you'd kind of be at like exhaustion, or potentially at exhaustion. You may not be, depending on what oil does going forward. Obviously, you have other targets higher. You have around 85 or so. But at some point, the thing would cool. I would anticipate that it would cool, whether it was after it took out this high or maybe coming up and trying to test this 86 level. Some point, I think it's going to cool and come back and retest. And so that's kind of where my head would be at, would be looking for an opportunity to buy the retest. I don't know if it's going to happen that fast, but seems like the market is quite bullish on and all things oil, all things energy. So seems like you're pretty safe if you've got the means to take a little bit of risk off. I don't see the problem with doing that. You're pretty much you've made a big move, but if you want to hold it for a couple more days and see what happens. You said you've got September, I assume September monthlies, so definitely, man. Great trade. Good for you. Do I always anchor from the opening candle? So, Lolly, that's a great question. I do not always anchor from the opening candle. Now, I do always want to know where daily VWAP is. Oftentimes, I'll just have the indicator on my chart, just like a standard VWAP, just to know where is everybody at, how are they doing today, price in relation to where the VWAP is. Generally, I'm going to anchor VWAPs from what I would consider to be pivotal points on the chart. Now, that could be relative highs, that could be relative lows, that could be gap ups, gap downs, earnings dates, those sorts of things, big volume candles. So, kind of always have volume up on the chart to kind of see. So, conventional wisdom would maybe tell you to anchor from the highest high over here, but we do have like huge volume on these guys down over here. So I might anchor from one of them and kind of see where we're at. There's a lot of price action to eat through. You've got months of price action that price is just having trouble eating through. It doesn't mean that it can't. It's just usually these first tests are problematic. Usually they're troublesome. We gained it once here and immediately failed. So I would be looking for a bit of a gain here and then a back test in. Oftentimes price doesn't just immediately gain and go. Usually it has to come back and test at least once, maybe even twice, sometimes 3 times. Oftentimes it'll make higher lows as it does that. So, depending on what you're looking for, something like this, right? Slowly making higher lows and higher highs as you go. But don't be surprised to see some tests. Don't be surprised if it happens. It certainly can. I'm not saying it will, but it certainly can. So something to be mindful of. But yeah, that's kind of my take on it. Anchoring to the start of the day is always good. Anchoring to the start of the week, it really just depends on kind of what you're after. Like with IWM here, to me, it makes a whole heck of a lot of sense to be anchoring from the start of the move, start of the gap down. right? Just because, you know, you kind of want to know from this gap down, where are our buyers? Are our buyers in the money? Are they not in the money? How are they doing on this trade? And so right now, if you bought IWM start of the week, on average, you're in the money at 191 on average. 191.39 is trading 192.33. So up a buck on this trade, which, you know, depending on what you got, if you're in options, if you're in like in the money weekly options, this is a great move for you. So it's interesting to see. I mean, it's not that wild to see IWM performing so well relative to SPY and the Qs. IWM has outperformed SPY and the Qs week over week for most of the weeks in this whole rally. So not surprised to see the strong performer wants a little bit of strength coming back in. Not to see that strong performer, relatively speaking, be the first out the gate, and that's what we're seeing here. So we're definitely now wanting to use IWM as our kind of focal point, and we're looking for it to help bring SPY and the Qs along with it. Do we have a way to scan stocks that have strong fundamentals? Great question. If we click on the market scanner, I can show you. If you click add parameter here and then say condition, this is all of the things that you can scan for. So you can scan for price, you can scan for candlestick pattern conditions, indicator conditions, earnings dates and values, dividend dates and values, split dates, news content, analyst estimates, and then you can scan for names appearing in specific watch lists. So beat bottom earnings by 10%, beat estimates on top line. So what I would do with that is you could scan for earnings values, and you could say things like EPS is equal to, greater than, less than, so on. You can also use change percentage compared to a previous earnings, or surprise percentage, and define that surprise percentage. Another thing that you can do is you could utilize the news option. News content, include an article with all of the keywords, and you could say beat bottom earnings or beat estimates on top line as your keyword, right? Like that, and then scan. And then you could change, you know, how far back the news was. It's default 7 days. You can change this to whatever you want. So that's what I would try. We don't have a ton of quote unquote fundamental data on the platform yet. That is something that we hope to introduce to the platform eventually. But right now, these are the limitations. So I would say play around with those ideas and see if you can't find something that you're looking for. For example, you could do like earnings values, change percentage, greater than, earnings values, change percentage, like 1 report ago or 2 reports ago or something like that. So you can compare the current report to the previous. So that's what I would try if I were you, Lolly. As far as indicators that I like the most, I mean, you know, I'm a huge fan of VWAP. It definitely gives me what I need as far as knowing where buyers are in the market. I'm a big fan of, you know, I like to look at different moving averages. I don't usually have them up on my chart all the time, but I like to know kind of what's going on with them. Volume by price, another one that I quite like. RSI, you know, I don't really use anything crazy. It's kind of all the basic stuff, all of the normal stuff that you would kind of anticipate. We added recently the TW pivot, our buddy Theta Warrior with the TW pivot. This is a pretty cool one. We could talk about it in a little bit. I'm going to pop over to Mr. Biden and see where we're at here with this. If for some reason, guys, you have trouble hearing, I'm going to turn down the music a little. If you guys have any trouble hearing the prez, do let me know. Let's see. How's that? Hopefully that works and looks good for you guys. Switch back over to the charts here. Cool. I'm anxious to hear what he says. I'm anxious to see how the markets respond to what he says. we did kind of get the response. I believe that the news about how much he was forgiving came out like right here. I think it came out right on this drop. So initially, the markets didn't love the news. So it'll be interesting to see if they're impacted at all here once he starts speaking. I can't imagine he's going to say anything that's really going to change anything. I don't know. What do you guys think is going to happen? Do you guys have any opinions on it? Does anything he says matters? Or does anything he says matter about this? What's up, Blue? Oh no, what'd you say? View deleted message. Hold on, here we go. What up, TrendSpider? How's it going, Blue? Hope you're doing good today. Now we just wait for Sleepy Joe. The man is not prompt today. I don't know if he's ever prompt. Interesting. I've been watching Apron for some time. It's managed to quite hold its gains from the past couple of sessions. Anything you guys are watching while we wait? Ooh, CRM. Big move on CRM today. 180.61 ahead of earnings. I believe that they have not had earnings yet. And we're going to stay live until 4:30 Eastern today. Because we got CRM earnings, I believe. And we also have NVDA. So that's going to be exciting. Let's pop over to NVDA and see how it's trading today. Tesla stock split after hours. What's up, Mr. Robot? Yep. NVDA just barely hanging on to these lows here. Trying. Will be interesting to see because I feel like a bad earnings report from them could send the cues in the wrong direction. Tesla, how's Tesla trading today? It's up a little, holding those previous lows. Still just in a bit of a consolidation. Flagging. Trading just above the anchored VWAP from the all-time high. So that's kind of interesting. Analyst estimates on your chart. Yeah, it's in other data. Click on other data. Click on the 3 dots. And then turn on analyst estimates using this box here. And it's going to look like this. So it kind of lives in the same area as volume. But it looks like this. So depending on whether or not you want to see it this way, you can also add it via your sidebar. Click on sidebar button, say add or remove widgets, and then add new and choose analyst estimates. And then as far as scanning for them, if you go to your market scanner, say add parameter condition, and choose analyst estimates. So this is just any analyst, any action, any rank, X days ago, within the last X days, or today. So if you got a report, an analyst report, within the last days or X days ago or today. And then you could change it. You can make it a specific analyst. You can make it an upgrade, specifically a downgrade, a confirm, and initiate, and then a buy, hold, or sell. If you can't see it, check your indicator list. Click right here where it says expand indicator list. And then search for where it says analyst estimates. So it says that right here for me. And then make sure this box is turned on. See, I can toggle it on and off. So you just want to make sure that box is toggled on. Did that help? Where's Sleepy Joe at? Ah, you got it. Good. We're all waiting on Sleepy Joe. How do I read the TW pivot? Justice. Great question. I'm going to give you a couple of resources here. I can talk through it, but I'm also going to give you a couple of resources so that you can go back and watch them. So hold on one second. Let me grab this. Sleepy Joe, where are you? Sleepy Joe. Let's see. Darn, hold on. Let me find it. We did a video. What I'm looking for here is the video that we did with Theta. Here it is. Perfect. So let me give you this first before I do any explaining. What's up, Madhukar? How's it going? So this is the video that we just did a couple weeks back with Theta when we launched the indicator. First of all, I would watch that because that's going to break things down for you probably even better than I can because it's Theta talking about it. But generally speaking, let me add it real quick. The big things that you're looking for on the TW pivot are the green and the red highlights. Green and red highlights are buy and sell signals. So they're based off of essentially all of the indicators contained within the TW pivot. There are multiple things that are being measured within the single indicator. And when they all align, when they all essentially meet the criteria that they're looking to meet, you get these buy and sell signals. The buy and sell signals do not always work. Not every indicator works all the time. These are just the most high probability setups of the bunch. So that's really what you're looking for. Now, in some instances, you're going to see situations like this. One thing to watch here, like you have a sell signal here, and then you notice the oscillator, this green line that flips red and then back to green and back to red and so on. Whenever the oscillator flips, the oscillator is always going to flip on a buy or a sell signal. So it's either going to go green to red or it's going to go red to green, depending on whether it's a buy or a sell. If it immediately flips back to the color that it was before the signal, it's a negated signal. So that lets you know very quickly, hey, this is not going to work. We're still going to go higher or we're still going to go lower based on the indicators contained within it. So this is a bad signal and it lets you know pretty quickly. Every once in a while, you're going to not get a signal. You know, like right here, the count, this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, this count hit 9, but some of the other criteria contained within the indicator didn't hit, so you didn't actually get the signal there. So it's kind of interesting to see. But yeah, that's really kind of the gist of it, is you're looking for the big green bar or the big red bar. The big red bar is a potential sell signal. The big green bar is a potential buy signal. As far as time frames that it works best on, he says that he uses it on the 5-15. I believe he said the daily. I don't think that there is like a best time frame to use it on. I think it's going to be valid per time frame. He says you can use it on any time frame. Really, it's just a matter of, making sure you understand your time frame. Obviously, those signals are going to come faster on a 5-minute than on a daily or what have you. So something to keep in mind there. But that's really what the gist of this indicator is. And like I said, if you want to like deep dive into it, in that video that I linked, he gives examples and, he goes through different ways that he thinks about it. So I would strongly recommend taking a little bit of time watching that video because he is the master of this indicator. What's up, Joe? How's it going? You're not sleepy, Joe. We're just waiting on the president over here. He was supposed to be here 10 minutes ago, but he's snoozing. Old boy's snoozing. Peloton. Let's look at Peloton while we wait. Ooh, I got a lot of stuff still on here. All right, so what's our thinking here? Puts on Peloton. Interesting. What's your thesis here with this, Blue? Not saying you're wrong, just curious. Do they have earnings? Or do they have earnings soon? I must have it turned off. Ah, earnings tomorrow. Interesting. So you're playing for an earnings dump, huh? You think they're making the move now ahead of earnings? Where's Joe? We want to know, where is Joe? We don't see him. Where'd he go? We could make like a Dr. Seuss rhyme about Joe. How are things looking? I'm going to go back to the... is there an undo button in case you accidentally deleted a trend line or any drawings? There is not an undo button. And some people like that and some people don't like that. And I definitely can feel for anybody who's frustrated about that, because I would love an undo button. Unfortunately, there is not an undo button. If you delete it, it's gone, and you just got to draw it again. It is a request that we've gotten in the past. You know what you could do if you're really keen on it. You can always hit up the team. Go to your name here and go to request a feature and say undo button. Give me an undo button. Peloton, once a Kathy stock, always a Kathy stock. That's your thesis. All right, yeah. I mean, I get that. I get that. For whatever reason, I just don't love stocks that gain into earnings. I don't touch earnings ever. I just don't play them. But it's always a little concerning to me when stocks like rip into earnings. Makes me think that they're doing the move before the move. But we'll see what it does. We'll keep an eye on it if it's tomorrow. Blue, what time are earnings? Yeah, I don't know if they're selling more bikes. The question is, I mean, they laid off a ton of their sales force, right? Or they laid off a ton of their workforce. Did they not? It was like a big percentage. So then maybe did those layoffs help cut costs enough? I mean, I have to admit, I'm more of a distance runner, but recently I have an issue with my foot and I can't run. And so I'm riding on a bike very similar to a Peloton. It's not a Peloton. It's like a competitor to Peloton. And I never really realized how much I'd enjoy it. I thought that I would hate it, but I actually quite enjoy it. And it makes me think that I would actually probably consider getting something like that at some point, if I ever needed to. We've got them at my complex that I live at in the gym. Britsu, how are you today, bud? Do we have any, oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Robot. Would you happen to have any favorite scanners? Whew. I get this question a lot, and the reality about favorites is that I don't have any. And the reason why I don't have any is because different times call for different things. So maybe you can give me an idea about kind of what you might be looking for. And then we could talk about favorite scanners. Christian. Connor, what's up, man? Can Tesla drop to 850 already? Well, it's going to drop to, what are they doing? A 1 for 5? Or 5 for 1? Is that what they're doing? Or is it like 20? I guess I could look it up. Let's see. 5 for 1. So, oh no, 3 for 1. Sorry. So it's going to drop to 300 here soon. Whether it's going to drop to 850 today, I wouldn't bet on that horse. Because right now it's holding. I mean, it keeps making higher lows. Did we get in a higher high? Barely made a higher high. I mean, just barely. I don't even know if you count it, but they did make a higher high. Now, if they start taking out lows, they really have to take out 850. MDB. I can't believe Sleepy Joe. Where is he at? He's taking a nap. He's like, what? What do I have to do today? He doesn't even know. He doesn't even know he's presenting anything today. MongoDB, interesting. I mean, you know, pretty easy to see this, right? You gain those highs, you come back and retest them, and we're holding. Doesn't look bad to me. Longer term, you just got to keep in mind. Longer term, we might be in, I mean, we are technically in a downtrend, right? We've made a lower high here at this 389 level relative to this 475. You made lower lows here. So the next step would be to make a new high above 390. You got earnings in 5 days, 5 sessions. So that's something to keep in mind. Earnings in a few days. I mean, to me, it feels like the market's in for a bounce here. So I think you'd probably be pretty good off of these previous highs, 316. It's already a pretty nice move, though. 30 bucks, 10%. I guess it didn't move 10%. It moved like 7. It's up 7% today, even off the lows. Oh, no, it's up 5% today. Sorry, 5%. Still, pretty big move. Yeah, they bounced those highs. Perfect, huh? You can measure from here. You can measure from here. Actually, I think kind of that's a little bit more relevant. That gap up. You have a little bit of concern. I have a little bit of concern about the fact that I mean, I don't know. It doesn't look bad. It definitely doesn't look bad. Would have been nice to grab it around 325, obviously. You do have on the daily here, if we just zoom in to kind of the very recent price action, you do technically have a lower high right here, right, relative to this one. And then they took out the low, which is why they brought you down. So then you'd kind of be looking in here as a potential target, 365.83. I would say if you could get up to 365.83 ahead of earnings, I would get out and let earnings do what earnings do, even if it means missing a big pop, which you might. I don't know anything about MongoDB outside of their name. I don't know really what they do. But it doesn't look bad. It looks like it caught kind of right where you'd want it to initially. And you do have a nice big base here. So those are your next targets, I think 365 or so, and then these new highs, 390. Play it how you wish. Pins. Joe still not here. We're still waiting on Joe. Pins is interesting. You filled the gap today. Relatively lower risk off of that gap fill, huh? I mean, I don't know too much about Pinterest as a company. But this seems like a decent place to kind of have your line in the sand. I think if they were to fail this gap, they'd probably come back into somewhere in here. 1832. So I'd probably have a pretty tight stop on this if I were trying to go long. Again, like I said, I don't really know a ton about Pinterest. I don't know how they make money. And I don't know how many people actually pay attention to Pinterest. I mean, I assume they just sell, they get, if you click through and you buy something, they get a cut, right? But like, how is their user base doing these days? I feel like everybody's just moved to TikTok. But I only think that because my wife, right? My wife is on TikTok all the time. But yeah, I mean, a decent spot. And then if this fails, I'd be looking lower. I'd be looking at 18 and a third here. One thing they were not able to do, they were not able to take out this high, which is maybe a little concerning. Primarily female. Yeah, I mean, I would assume that. SQ for Madhukar. SQ is interesting because when it gets moving, man, it can get moving. I know a couple of friends that do very, very well trading options on SQ. So a first thought for me is this anchored VWAP off of the low. Currently trading below that. We are holding though. We are holding a higher low here. So if we just look at that. To me, 69, that's kind of your line in the sand. I mean, maybe this 65, if you wanted to be a little looser with it, give it wiggle room down to 65, this previous low here. We did make a new high. We didn't really gain anything, but we came up into it and made a new high. Would have liked to have seen us like actually trade, close above. Doesn't look like they were ever able to close. It looked like they opened it above right here on this day, but it failed. And you made a lower high. I would let this one kind of work itself out. You know, you got a high here, you got a lower high here, and then you lost. So similar to, I can't remember the play that we were just looking at. What was it? I can't remember. Similar to the play we were just looking at. If this thing is going to gain, you got to look for it over here. 81. See what happens when it gets to 81. I'd probably be trying to buy over here. 65. You take out this low, which would be kind of sketchy. But you really kind of, I kind of wanted to see them hold this. They're holding this right now. They can still hold it. If the Qs do well over the next couple of days, this is probably going to do pretty well too. But it would be funny to see them come and take out stops below this low here, just to rip it back. So try to always think about max pain. Where's max pain? What hurts most people? You could look at the options chain and kind of see what's going on with it. Lots of red dots here. That's interesting. Quite more red than green. So then maybe, you know, just by looking at that makes me want to say they're probably going to go higher with it if most folks are positioned in the opposite direction. Because we also don't know well, I guess we could find out. We could look. What is this? 170 puts, expiry January 2024. 4.1 million in premium. Kind of wonder when that came along. Yo, where is Joe? What is going on? He got COVID again. Let me do something real quick. This is kind of interesting. Yesterday, a 16,703% of the open interest trade on the 55 put came in. See, this just makes me feel like this is a seller. I don't think this is a buyer. This came in yesterday. No, it came in today. That's interesting. You know, I would have liked it a little bit lower, but it could be ready to move here. Joe, he's here? Well, Joe Nobody's here. And Joseph Serrano's here. But we're looking for President Joe. Maybe I need to like refresh this. Is he actually talking and I just don't realize it? Let's see. No. He's not yet. He's 25 minutes late. There are 19,282 of us waiting. I can't believe you leave us waiting like this. Rude. Is your options flow data real time? It's real time. Lots of calls for September 9th, September 16th. Interesting. Let's see. What day is today? Oh, so that trade was today. Oh. Interesting. So these 55 puts, $440,000 trade, 16,700% of the open interest. I don't know. I just got a feeling that this is that they sold this, that this isn't somebody long. And then there's this. What is this? 16,948% of the open interest on the 55 puts again. So this is like a multi-million-dollar trade. Yesterday, a bunch of 74 calls came in. This probably popped pretty nice. 74 calls, $513,000 in premium, 85 calls, $500,000 in premium, 9,800 open interest. This is 18% of that. Yeah, interesting. Very interesting indeed, Madhukar. Oxy, absolute monster. Woo! New highs on Oxy. Uncle Warren. He was not wrong. Uncle Warren has been calling it. Why fade him? You know, the man is good. Why fade him? Looks like we're trying to go for new highs or new relative highs. I would have to assume they're going to come back into this 82. Or actually maybe right here, maybe 78. You are running into potential exhaustion risk here now that you're at a new high. So something to be mindful of. Doesn't mean it can't keep gaining, but now that you're at a new relative high, you could always pull back a little bit. Notice every time we made new highs. You got a high here. Well, if this was your previous high, you got a new high, you pull back. You got a new high, you pull back, new high, pull back, new high, pull back, pull out, pull back. Ugh. So, something to be mindful of. Walmart Annie. What's up, Annie? Filled the gap. Trying to find a little bottom. Doesn't look bad. Rob, what's up, man? Unusual options are available on all accounts. We do not offer the options chain, quote unquote, meaning you can't see every single options trade that happens. It's just unusual options. And you can access that by clicking on the sidebar, saying add or remove widgets. Down at the bottom, say add new, and choose the unusual options option. And then once you're there, you can filter. So if you click on this little crosshairs here in the top right corner of the dot plot graph, click on that bad boy, and then you can filter by expiration date. You can filter by premium and strike. Of course, the more you filter, the less you're going to see on the dot plot graph. But filter it the way it makes sense for you. Usually, I'm not really a long-term type of guy, so I'm usually going to just look for kind of, you know, next couple of months, and then I'm usually going to juice the premium up quite a bit. $250,000, $500,000, depending, you know, just looking for like bigger premiums. Where are the really unusual trades? Looking for big amounts of open interest, that sort of thing. Yeah, but Walmart doesn't look too bad here. It's holding kind of where you'd expect it to, Annie. Next level to test will be the gap up lows, which kind of coincides with the anchored VWAP from that gap up. You always want to know when you have these big gap ups like this or gap downs. You want to know where your average buyer is. They are hanging out at 138.40 right now, so they are all stuck to the tune of $3. So if you continue to gain, you might find some resistance around that level. Kind of jives with a lot of stuff. 137.5 to 138 would be kind of targets for me here. They did leave some gap to fill. Up to 146.21. Doesn't mean that they'll have to, that they need to, or, oh, Joe, he's here.
Good afternoon.
Can you guys hear him okay?
When America made 12 years of public education universal in the last century, we became, not figuratively, literally the best educated public in the world, and better prepared than any other nation. And I would argue that it's one of the reasons why we were so successful and have been so successful. But as you've all observed, other nations have caught up. In the 21st century, in my view, I think the vast majority of Americans, 12 years of universal education is not enough. And we're going to be outcompeted by the rest of the world if we don't take action. But here's the deal. The cost of education beyond high school has gone up significantly. The total cost to attend a public four-year university has tripled, nearly tripled in 40 years. Tripled. Instead of properly funding public colleges, many states have cut back their support. We're just talking about that in the Oval. Many states have cut back support for their state universities, leaving students to pick up more of the tab. And for 50 years, Pell Grants had been a key way for the federal government to help lower-income families, particularly those earning less than $60,000 a year, to send their kids to college. Those Pell Grants used to cover 80% of the cost of going to a public four-year college. Today, Pell Grants cover roughly 32%. That's 1/3 of the cost as opposed to before. It matters. I remember walking up, and now my dad, like probably a lot of your folks, cared a lot about your education. My dad's greatest regret was that he never got to go to college. And my dad was a very well-read man, particularly history, and but it was a great regret. And you always say, Joey, you're going to be a college man. And I'd say, Dad, but what does that matter? I mean, you can still get fired if you're a college man. He said, yeah, but they can never take it away from you. They can never take your education away. And I remember my senior year, I got into one of the little Ivies, and I got into a number of schools, and we're trying to get the money, even with financial assistance, to be able to go there. We had 4 kids, all of us wanting to go to school. And And I remember going down after a baseball game. I went to a really good school up in Claymont, Delaware, on the Pennsylvania border, and drove down to Newark, Delaware, where my dad worked at an automobile agency. And I walked in, and I had my spikes, and because the reason I was going down, when your dad works at an automobile agency, the great advantage, you get a new car to go to the prom, or a good used car off the lot. You think I'm joking? I'm not joking. And so I went down in my 51 Plymouth with beach towels for seat covers, and I had my uniform on, my spikes off. I ran in, and the woman's name was Mary, who ran the place. I said, "Mary, where's Dad?" She said, "He's out in the lane going into the repair shop." Give him my word, true story. And my dad was a well-dressed, refined fella, and I walked out, and my dad was pacing back and forth between the big garage door going into the repair shop and the door going out of the showroom. And he looked up, he said, "Oh, Joey, honey, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry." And I thought, God, something happened. This is before cell phones. So something happened to one of my brothers or my sister or my mom or something. I said, "What's the matter, Dad?" He said, "I went to see," the guy's name was Charlie Delcher, who was a vice president of the Farmers Bank, which was a state-owned bank that did a lot of the financing of people wanting to purchase a car. He said, "I went to Charlie and asked to borrow the money." He said, "He won't lend it to me." He said, "I'm so ashamed. I'm so damn ashamed." You know, my dad would, my dad was like millions of parents all across the country. Want to help the kids to get to school, but there was just no way to be able to do it. And because he believed, as I do, that education is a ticket to a better life. It's something Jill and I, Kamala and Doug, we understand deeply. I'm sure the vast majority of you do as well. But over time, that ticket has become too expensive for too many Americans. All this means is an entire generation is now saddled with unsustainable debt in exchange for an attempt, at least, at a college degree. The burden is so heavy that even if you graduate, you may not have access to the middle-class life that the college degree once provided. Many people can't qualify for a mortgage to buy a home because of the debt they continue to carry. They carry, it's too high. They can't come up with the down payment anyway. A lot of folks are even putting off starting families because of the cost. And the dream of starting your own business is just way off in the distance with the debt that so many are saddled with. Many of you had to leave school because of financial strain was much too high. About a third of the borrowers have debt but no degree, and worst of both worlds, debt and no degree. The burden is especially heavy on Black and Hispanic borrowers, who on average have less family wealth to pay for it. They don't own their homes to borrow against to be able to pay for college. And the pandemic only made things worse. But we responded aggressively to the pandemic to minimize the economic impact of the harm of COVID imposed on individuals, families, and businesses. You all were there with recovery. Look, we increased unemployment benefits for workers who were laid off. We provided loans to small businesses so they could stay afloat and take care of their families and their employees. We provided assistance to people to put food on the table. Remember those long lines you guys would all film of cars? Decent-looking cars, not jalopies, nice cars.
Jalopies.
Just waiting for a box of food to be put in the trunk in the United States of America? Waiting for over an hour to get food in a trunk? And we provided rent and mortgage assistance to keep people from being evicted and thrown out in the street. Our approach to help Americans who need it the most was necessary, and it was the right thing to do, and it helped people avoid financial crisis, which helped our whole country as a consequence of that. That didn't benefit them, it benefited the whole economy. Our approach is why America's economic recovery was faster and stronger than any other advanced nation in the world. Now it's time to address the burden of student debt in the same way. Working closely with the Secretary of Education, he's got the hard job, Secretary Cardona. Here's what my administration is going to do to provide more breathing room for people so they have less burdened by student debt. And quite frankly, to fix the system itself, which when we came in, we both acknowledged was broken in terms of anyway. There are three key factors what we're going to do today. First, we've made incredible progress advancing America's economic recovery. We've wound down pandemic relief programs like the ones on unemployment insurance and small businesses. It's time we do the same thing for student loans. Student loan payments pause is going to end.
Pause.
It's going to end December 30. I'm extending to December 31st, 2022, and it's going to end at that time. It's time for the payments to resume. Second, my campaign for president, I made a commitment. That would provide student debt relief, and I'm honoring that commitment today. Using the authority Congress granted the Department of Education, we will forgive $10,000 in outstanding federal student loans. In addition, students who come from low-income families, which allowed them to qualify to receive a Pell Grant, will have their debt reduced $20,000. Both of these targeted actions are for families who need it the most. Working and middle-class people hit especially hard during the pandemic, making under $125,000 a year. If you make more than that, you don't qualify. No high-income individual or high-income household on top of the 5%, in the top 5% of incomes, by the way, will benefit from this action, period. In fact, about 90% of the eligible beneficiaries make under $75,000 a family. Here's what that means. If you make under $125,000, you get $10,000 knocked off your student debt. If you make under $125,000 a year and you received a Pell Grant, you'll get an additional $10,000 knocked off that total, for a total of $20,000 relief. 95% of the borrowers can benefit from these actions. That's 43 million people. Of the 43 million, over 60% are Pell Grant recipients. That's 27 million people who will get $20,000 in debt relief.
That's a lot.
Nearly 45% can have their student debt fully canceled. That's 20 million people who can start getting on with their lives. All this means people can finally crawl out from under that mountain of debt.
$540
get on
billion.
top of their rent and their utilities. To finally think about buying a home or starting a family or starting a business. And by the way, when this happens, the whole economy is better off. In the coming weeks, the Department of Education will lay out in detail a short and simple form to apply for this relief, along with information when this application process opens. By resuming student loan payments at the same time as we provide targeted relief, we're taking an economically responsible course. As a consequence, about $50 billion a year will start coming back into the Treasury because of resumption of debt. Independent experts agree that these actions taken together will provide real benefits for families without meaningful effect on inflation. Let's be clear. I hear it all the time. How do we pay for it? We pay for it by what we've done. Last year, we cut the deficit by more than $350 billion. This year, we're on track to cut it by more than $1.7 trillion by the end of this fiscal year, the single largest deficit reduction in a single year in the history of America. And the Inflation Reduction Act is going to cut it by another $300 billion over the next decade because Medicare will be paying less for prescription drugs, and over $1 trillion if you add it out for the next 2 decades. The point is this. There is plenty of deficit reduction to pay for the programs, cumulative deficit reduction to pay for the programs many times over. I will never apologize for helping Americans, working Americans and middle class, especially not to the same folks who voted for a $2 trillion tax cut that mainly benefited the wealthiest Americans and the biggest corporations, that slowed the economy, didn't do a hell of a lot for economic growth, and wasn't paid for, and racked up this enormous deficit. Just as we've never apologized when the federal government forgave almost every single cent of over $700 billion in loans to hundreds of thousands of small businesses across America during the pandemic. No one complained that those loans caused inflation. A lot of these folks in small businesses are working in middle-class families. They needed help. It was the right thing to do. So the outrage over helping working people with student loans, I think is just simply wrong, dead wrong. Third thing, we're fixing the student loan program system itself. We've talked about this at length. This is really important. We're proposing to make what's called an income-driven repayment plan simple and fair. And here's how. No one with an undergraduate loan today or in the future, whether for community college or a four-year college, will have to pay more than 5% of their discretionary income to repay their loan. That's income after you pay the necessities like housing, food, and the like. You currently pay 10%. We're cutting that in half to 5%. And after you pay your loan for 20 years, your obligation will be fulfilled if it hadn't already been fulfilled, meaning you won't have to pay any more, period.
How are we feeling about this, guys?
Original balance was less than $12,000, many of whom are community college students, will be done paying just after 10 years. These changes will save more than $1,000 a year on average for the borrower. It's a game changer. We're also fixing what's called, and this has been the bane of driving me crazy when I was out of office, the Public Service Loan Forgiveness Program. Now, this program forgives student loans to encourage those students who have those loans if they go and do public service. Think of the millions who are public school teachers, local police officers, workers at local charities, members of the military and the National Guard, and so many more. Think of the folks who work for federal, state, local, tribal governments, keeping essential services going, responding to natural disaster, all those firefighters and cops. The program is designed so that if you serve in one of these jobs, and we'll be able to list those and you'll be able to accurately assess whether you do, and make your loan payments for 10 years, even if it's not consecutive years, your remaining balance will be completely forgiven. It's a great idea, but the program's a mess. It's so inefficient and complicated, too many people just give up. Think if a service member defers their student loan payment while they're deployed.
Hey, they don't
The
call them
system is
Sleepy
so
Joe for nothing.
restrictive that their active duty service didn't count as public service, and the loan isn't forgiven as promised. It's outrageous.
It's outrageous.
Well, the man to my left is going to fix it. The Department of Education has recently proposed changes that will make this program work better and over the long term, much better.
Margaret doesn't seem to care
Now the department
about any of
issues
this.
emergency temporary changes to retroactively credit public service so accounts and loans are forgiven. Since I've been in office, more than 175,000 teachers, nurses, police officers have been able to get over $10 billion in loan forgiveness so far through this program. But this opportunity expires on October 31st, 2022. So my message to all
definitely
servants,
this morning.
all public
What do they
servants,
do?
all those who are the ones that are volunteering, is out with student debt to go. Here's what you want, if you're worried about how to do it, go to pslf.gov before October 31st to see if you qualify for public service student loan forgiveness. This is another game changer. And we're going to have people who are there to help get you, help direct you and work you through the process. And one more big change we're making to the system is we're holding colleges accountable for jacking up costs without delivering value to students. We've all heard of those schools luring students with a promise of big paychecks when they graduate.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you on that.
Only to watch these students be ripped off and left with mountains of debt. And my predecessors looked the other way, for some reason, with good reason, to do anything about this fraud. My administration is taking it
Third
out.
highest
For
volume
example,
today. Interesting.
the Department of Education works
What
with
do
private
they
education
do so far?
associations to accredit colleges and universities so they can receive federal aid. Well, last week the Department of Education fired a college accreditor that allowed colleges like ITT and Corinthian to defraud borrowers. And combined with our emergency actions, the Public Service Forgiveness Program and other actions we've taken, we've been able to cancel more than $32 billion in student debt for 1.6 million borrowers, including those defrauded by these bad acting schools. Our goal is to shine a light on the worst actors so students can avoid these debt traps. Now, I understand not everything I'm announcing today is going to make everybody happy. Something is too much. I find it interesting how some of my Republican friends who voted for those tax cuts and others think that we shouldn't be helping these folks. Something is too little, but I believe my plan is responsible and fair. It focuses the benefit on middle class and working families. It helps both current and future borrowers, and will fix a badly broken system. And these actions build on my administration's effort to make college more affordable in the first place. It includes unprecedented investments.
There's so many things about this chart that really concern me.
Historic black colleges and universities, much of which is focused on pandemic relief to help students cover tuition.
Can it come back in?
So they can stay in school.
570. It can.
And I must be honest with you. I'm going to continue to fight for doubling the Pell Grants. I didn't get that done this time. Let me say it again. 12 years of universal education is not enough. I'm going to continue to work for universal pre-K for every 3 and 4 year olds.
Lower high.
And universal community college for education beyond high school.
And then they took out all these lows.
Let me close with this. I ran for office to grow the economy from the bottom up and the middle out. Because when we do that, everybody does better. Everybody does well.
They're going to fail.
The wealthy do very well. The poor have a way up, and the middle class can have
head and shoulders.
And that's going to help America win the economic competition of the 21st century. Because much of my time is spent, how do we remain the most competitive nation in the world, with the strongest economy in the world, with the greatest opportunities?
Even 600.
That's what today's announcement is about.
I don't know.
It's about opportunity. It's about giving people a fair shot. It's about the one word America can be defined by: possibilities. It's all about providing possibilities. We're going to have a lot more to say about this. There's a lot of material that's going to be put out as to how this is being implemented. And I want to thank you all, and God bless you all. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Mr. President, how much advance notice did you have of the FBI's plan to search Mar-a-Lago?
What?
I didn't have any advance notice. None. Zero. Not one single bit. Thank you.
Mr. President, is this unfair to people who paid their student loans or chose not to take out loans?
Is it fair to people who, in fact, do not own multi-billion-dollar businesses to see why these guys get them all at tax rates? Is that fair? What do you think?
So it looks to me like...
What about people who paid their loans, though, struggled to pay their loans?
You had a bunch of stops up here. People who were short. And those people all got stopped out. All right. So we are done here with Mr. Biden. Looks like it's over. What do you guys think? Are we overwhelmed? Are we underwhelmed? Do we feel good? Do we feel bad? Turn this down some here. Turn this bad boy off. All right, we all set now. Just getting resituated. Yeah, so blue, I mean, sure. It's definitely an interesting, it's definitely made a huge move, hasn't it? Hard to go long here, just because you're coming into a place that has been resistance. This $8 level has been pretty gnarly resistance for a year. Doesn't mean it can't gain it. It certainly can. And it might. So we'll have to watch and see. Be looking for 10 on the gain. They can close up and over it. $10 would be a logical place. $12. But I don't know, you know, this might be, if this is like heavily shorted and tiny float, looks like they just had a 1 for 8, so a reverse split. Nothing burger. Yeah, so markets were just kind of waiting, I think, for him to stop talking. I mean, if this isn't a base, if they're not putting in a bottom here, I personally would be pretty surprised. We've had a nice technical retrace back into our big area. In here. Now we wait and we see. The question is, if we gain here and we go higher, do we make a new high or do we fail on the retest? I feel like that's going to be the make or break move. If we do not make a new high, my guess is we're probably going to find our way all the way back. At least most of the way back. However, if we make a new high here, then we might be talking. He said something about his dad in a car. He did. He sure did. Lori, yeah. I mean, absolutely. That would be a place. Back into 421 in a quarter or so. You know, technically, let's go down to a smaller time frame. Can take a look. Technically, we failed a new high 3 times. Right, if this is your high, you failed it here, and then you failed it here. Well, so twice you failed it. So yeah, I'd be looking for somewhere in here to come back and test. Actually, like 426. If they're able to scoop this and make a move into Friday. But this certainly looks like a pretty clean little retrace of that gap. They filled it almost to the penny, just a little below, and now they're trying to gain it back. So now we're looking, you know, if they're going to do this thing, they're really going to do it. We need to see new highs. So we need to gain 415 here on SPY. Probably want to do that relatively quickly. If we look at IWM, my guess this thing is ahead of the bunch. It is a little bit. I would imagine that this is all really good news for crypto. Yep. So Ethereum is up almost 0.75% today. Don't love how they took out that low, but I suppose the real big low to hold was this 1460, and they did, made a higher low. Very interesting. What's Apple doing? Apple's kind of holding. Hate to say it, but things look pretty darn good for continuation higher. Actually, I don't hate to say it. I'm happy to say it. I would prefer stocks to continue going up. I think most of us would. TTMI for a swing. Let's check it out. Too much information. Oh no, it's TTM Technologies. It'd be cooler if they were too much information incorporated. So this 1730 level here, pretty important, has been pretty important historically. You could see it, right? Here in 2017, it was the high. They were able to gain it. They came back and it held. They made a new high and then lost. And then they failed at it all through 2017 and into 2018. Then they gained it. And then they held it. And then they lost. And now they've just tagged it again. So $17.50. To me, $17.50 is a line in the sand. Hard to go long here, in my opinion, only because you're at 17 bucks now. You're trading 16.9. So you got 50 cents wiggle room. Now that doesn't mean that price cannot gain this level. It certainly can. It looks like what it did was it gained to these previous highs, and then it's retested and it's holding. So expectation would probably be a continuation move, but you really got to see it get up and over 1750 in my opinion. I like that it's made higher highs though across the board here. Did it make new highs here? Yeah, so up and over 1750, I think you've got to move to 19.5, $2. I don't hate it. I don't love it. There's a lot more. I think that there's more stuff, more trades that you could, or there's better names you could trade here. This just looks like a pretty slow mover. That 1950 level seems like super important. This thing's been trading since 2000 and hasn't been able to much get up over it. But, you know, maybe up over that, up over all those previous highs, $20.50. Then you could start, then you could maybe think about swinging it. Because for now, you know, your headroom is 19.5, and it could just go sideways for months and months and months and months and years and years. But I don't know. Lori, the reason why I say that is because you're forgiving a bunch of college loans. And so, I mean, it's not all young people, but it's mostly young people. I would imagine it's mostly younger people. I mean, my wife is 32. She paid off her loans like 2-3 years ago. So presumably these are the people who, I mean, you know, there's lots of people of all age groups that haven't paid off their loans yet. But if you were in your mid-20s and you just got a free 10 G's, what would you be buying with that 10 G's? You're probably not able to buy a house quite yet, depending on where you are in the country. You might not be able to buy a house quite yet. But you might be looking at crypto as like a long-term investment that you'd want to invest in. I agree, Lori. I feel like we should have some sort of recompense. But that's not going to happen. Or we could go to this pslf.gov website and try and make our case. NVDA, well, let's look at CLR first. Whoa. CLR at a very tricky spot to be getting along. I mean, for me, I probably wouldn't be trying to go long here, but that doesn't mean that it can't continue higher. It certainly can. I'm going to at least go to that website and see if there's anything, like if you paid off your college loans within the past year, you can get the refund or something. I don't know. It just seems like more bailouts, doesn't it? I mean, I get it. There's a lot of people that have a ton of debt. I get that colleges gouge. It's all problematic stuff. But it would be awesome if they went to the colleges to pay for it, because presumably, like somebody highlighted, I think it was Madhukar, said taxpayers are probably going to pay for it. But really, who should pay for it is colleges that gouge students. That's who should be paying for it. But I very much doubt that that's going to happen. NVDA. We got earnings today after the bell. Oh, man, this is going to be big. This is a big earnings report here. One of the more important ones that we're going to find. So we're going to be watching NVDA close, and we're going to be watching old CRM close. Salesforce having a day today. But NVDA, let's go back to it real quick. Let's go to the daily. Trying to hold on to these lows. Barely held them. So for now, a higher low in, but also a lower high. Not so great. We'll see what the earnings do. Secretly, I have a 154 target on it, but earnings could change all of that. So who knows? Daniel, I do wish you some luck though, man. If you're in calls on this thing, I hope this thing goes to the moon. 220. No stop. Just go straight to 220. That's what I want for you. SHIB. I don't know if I'd be buying SHIB. Nice. Can't go wrong if you're just playing with profits. You know, give it a go. Oh, we got opposing ideas here. UFC is going puts on NVDA. Well, for Daniel's sake, I hope it goes up, and for UFC's sake, I hope it goes down. Can I hope for that for both of y'all? I want you guys to win. That's what it all boils down to. I don't know. I mean, memes are strong. Memes are powerful. So, yeah, sure. If you want to put some money in SHIB, I mean, go ahead. I think it's probably going here at some point. 0000899. I think we got to go there first. I think we're going to go there again at some point. All right, so we got 2 for calls on NVDA. We got 1 for puts. But I will say this, UFC, if that's how you feel, go with it, man. Don't let anybody's opinion sway yours. Super, super important. Trust your gut. Doge. What does Doge look like? Price, the exact same. Yeah, it looks the exact same. Actually, it looks a little bit better to me. Actually, maybe it doesn't. I don't know, you guys. These meme coins. This is like BBBY. Or AMC or GME. The meme. When the meme is good, it's good. And when it's not good, it's not good. Got to be fast. All right, we got 2 for NVDA puts. Yay, you know, so one thing that we do around here that we have not done in a while, we can make this fun. NVDA opening price tomorrow morning. Guess it now before the close. We'll take stock of what everybody says, what everybody guesses, and we'll see if we can't get somebody a prize for who gets the closest. So hit me with your NVDA calls. Opening price tomorrow morning. What do you suspect is going to be the opening price of NVDA tomorrow morning? I want to know. Give me your guesses, and I'll talk to my team and see if we can't get a prize over to the winner. I'm going to keep track here. COIS7 says 155.45. Let me make this very small. Annie says 198. Daniel J says, no, Daniel, you got to give me a price. You got to give me one price. You can't give me no range. $180. Okay. Daniel. Oops. Daniel Jacob says 180. Lori says 185. I'm going to hit up the TrendSpider Twitter too. Actually, no, I'm going to leave this in-house. It's just for you guys. Only 160. Yeah, you can change yours to 177. Have I missed anybody? Britsu. Britsu says 192. So if you think it's going to be 178, Daniel, do you want to make yours 178? We could change it. Daniel Magnuson, what's up? Daniel Mag says 173.50. Rob Daisy. Says 205. We're all about having fun here, Lori. I mean, really, when the whip comes down, as the wise Mick Jagger likes to say, when the whip comes down, we got to have fun first and foremost. If we're not having fun, what are we doing? I can't absolutely guarantee a prize here, but I am going to try and make it happen. I think we could probably make it happen. Jeff Gaddis, 176.36. Madhukar says 165. There are 42 of you here, and I only have about 10 guesses. So for the other 30 of y'all that are here, let's get some guesses. We're looking for NVDA, opening price, tomorrow morning. Guesses have to be in 15 minutes before the bell. You guys have 15 minutes. Actually, you have 19 minutes to give me your guesses here. Aravind, ready. We'll say Aravind, RR. Says 160. Gabrielle. See, there's a lot of you folks here that never say anything, never say hello. It makes me sad. Annie, you can't get more than one guess? No. I guess you could trick me if you wanted to. You could sign off your current account and sign on using a different account to get another guess. But you'd have to go under a different name too. But if you go through all that trouble, then sure. LM says 174.5. Brandon Major, 174. Yusuf says 176. You guys are cracking me up. That's funny. I need to come up with my guess too, don't I? So let's see. Past 3 earnings results. $1.17, $1.32, $1.36. Let's see if we can find... Oh, we got new ones. Hold. Blue Moon, let's go. Blue Moon says 162.62. Hung, you got to pick one, man. You want to say 157.5? Since you're talking about middle of the road there. Daniel, I'm doing good, man. I'm here. Life is good. Not complaining about a thing. Be a fool to complain. If you're just tuning in, I don't think you are. UFC 166.5. We already got you, man. Didn't we? Oh, we didn't get you. Oh, let me add you. Shit. Sorry about that. UFC says 166.5. Now, one thing is we can't have any the same guesses. You guys got to pick. And we're not going over under. We're just saying simply. We're saying simply closest to price. So if somebody guesses 165 and somebody else guesses 165.10 and it's 165.08, 10 wins. Do I have a good scan and strat for playing long 30-day holds, midterm swings? So that is not my style. I'm going to tell you that right now. 30-day holds is not my style. But what you might be looking for, the very first thing that I think of is you're probably wanting to see price above some moving averages and holding above some moving averages. And probably you're wanting slight like medium term, like the 20-day or 25 or something like that. Opening price, Praveen Kumar. Opening price on NVDA tomorrow is what we're looking for. So you could do, you can kind of do a lot of different things there. I would be kind of looking for Price above kind of a shorter term, or maybe we'd have to play around with it and see. But actually, you know, I feel like, let me see something. Just kind of want to see where some of these names are at right now. A name like NVDA. So NVDA is trading below all of its major moving averages right now. That's interesting. Let me check CRM real quick. CRM is too. So what you might want to look for is you might want to look for names that are starting that this trend is changing. Like currently you've got price trading below all the moving averages. All the moving averages are kind of in the wrong direction. Your fastest ones are below your slowest ones. In a nice trend, you're wanting the opposite of that, right? You're wanting your, if your moving averages are 5, 10, 20, 50, 100, you want the 5 above the 10, above the 20, above the 50, above the 100, right? In a strong up trend. So what you may want to be looking for is like some, you know, maybe price is above its shortest term average, and maybe that short term average is crossing up on a medium term or something like that. Let me go back here real quick. I do want to try and help you think about building something like this out. Let me, though, first, I have to add a name here. Praveen Kumar. You say 168.70. Yeah, kind of like a crossover, but like you want to define specifics about the cross, right? You kind of want to see price above the really long-term ones because those are going to be problematic if price is below it. And then you want to see the shorter term ones kind of moving. So like my first thought here, I'm just going to use random ones. Let's see if we can just find something. I'm going to say price. Oops. Price daily close greater than indicator daily. MA1. So this is just a 5 EMA. Price is above the 5. Let's look for also indicator daily 5 is crossing up on indicator daily 10. Let's just see. I'm going to also do something real quick. Do this. I'm going to say indicator daily volume. If you guys know me, you know that I like to define some minimums. So here I'm saying that volume is above 1 million shares per day on average. I'm also going to say that price is above $10. I also want to say that price daily close is greater than indicator, and I'm going to use the 50 in this case. So price is above the 50, price is above the 5, and 5 is crossing up on the 20. It's going to give us something that's in a hopefully a general uptrend. If it's above its 50 SMA, that's bullish. And then we're looking for a shorter term. The trend is moving in our favor. So something like this. That's pretty clean. It's actually really nice. So you're just starting to, you see how the 50 is nice and flat. Prices, your moving averages are coiling. Price is trading above them. We're flagging out here. Like, this is looking pretty sweet. I don't know if they've got, their earnings are behind, so you don't have any earnings to worry about. I don't know what Enbridge does. But I like that they made a new high here. I mean, there's different ways that you could play this, but this is not that bad looking. You're above the anchored VWAP from that relative high. Let's just look at a few more of these examples. What I'm going to do also Yeah, absolutely, Tyler. I was about to do that. Potential swing ideas. Let's call it that. And we'll say live stream. Oh, you guys just saw my graphic just went off. I don't use these graphics enough. Dang it. All right, but we found what we were looking for, which means we are right on target. Right? Maybe one of these ideas blow up for us and it'll work. It's like how I did that. Shout out Parker for the graphics. Okay, so just so you guys know how to do this, let's go and then I'll just add my name here. And we're going to go save. And then we're going to click the 3 dots here. We're going to say share this scanner. Okay. I'm going to say share. It's going to rerun the scan. Look for the names that are meeting the criteria. And I would encourage you to play around with this. You know, in this particular case, I'm using 5, 10, 20, 50, 200 EMA. Actually, the 200 I'm not using. And I'm not using the 20. I'm just looking for the 5 crossing up on the 10 and price above the 5 and also price above the 50. The price being above the 50 is simply looking for, you know, something that's more positive trending. So now I can paste this. There you go, sir. Click on that link. Choose login and download, or login and import, and then choose subscribe, and it'll be on your end. I'm like I'm not like Kramer. But yes, I love the buttons. I love having graphics that I can play around with like this. Right on target. I got to come up with some more of them because shout out Parker likes to make them. Yeah, so there's you a link. I would, if I were you, save this, make a copy. Make a copy and save it. CCJ, another one kind of setting up here. Interesting. I just want to see what it finds. Tap. Some of these look better to me than others. EDU. This is a Chinese stock, I believe. PAGS. This one's a little extended with that gap up. STEM, interesting. A little extended maybe. Yeah, so some of these look better than others. You know, I wouldn't necessarily just, you know, blindly trade any of these, but I kind of think the first one that we found, ENBR, I kind of like this one. I would be kind of looking for a failure around 47. I don't know if that's necessarily a good thing, but that's kind of where my head would be at on it. But it could take some time to get there, so who knows? And we could look into what they do if they're in line with what's happening, what's doing well. I don't know anything about EMBR. But as far as like the correct or my favorite moving averages to use, I definitely don't have a favorite. I'm working on a new little report about this right now. I think what is most important and what you're going to find, no matter who you talk to, you're going to find that traders use a short one, a medium-term one, and a long-term one, right? Your short one is your immediate trend. It's following price action really closely. Your medium-term is simply that. Medium-term is meant to kind of keep you in a trade when things get a little scary. You know, if price has been generally moving in your direction, and then it starts to correct a little bit, you're looking for this medium-term one to come in and end up holding. Generally, your shorter-term one, price is going to oscillate around it a little bit more, whereas your medium-term should hold price in the medium term, and then your long one is your long one, right? I mean, it's a pretty basic concept, but as far as like which lengths are the best ones to use, I think it's going to be relative to each stock. So what you could do if you wanted, you could take this idea, you could back test it on any of these names and say, I'm buying when this cross up happens and I'm selling when price maybe crosses down on the 20 or something, right? Like we could do that. Let's actually do it real quick. Save it as a template. We'll call this potential swing idea. We'll say save. And then let's go to the scanner. Actually, let's do this too. Since I've saved this as a scanner, I'm going to load it as a watch list over here. Potential swing ideas. There it is. So here's the names that are meeting this criteria on the scan. Now I can go to the strategy tester and have all of those names. I'm going to go to script actions, say load from template. I'm going to say potential swing ideas. Choose it. So this is my entry now. So essentially, like, this would get me into this trade on this name at the end of the day today. And then I'm going to add a script that says price close less than the indicator, and I'm going to use the 20. Because that's kind of like my medium term. You know, if it closes below that, that's maybe a warning shot. And let's look back and see. How does this trade do on this name? Not super great. So maybe that 20 gets us out too soon. Negative 10% total loss versus a 535% gain over the course of 21 years. Let's check back. Let's just look like 1,000 candles. Yeah, still underperforms. 11% gain versus 27 over the past 1,000 candles. Your win rate is 40%. So yeah, that tells me that maybe I'm getting out too soon. Let me change this to... Let me see here. Price close. Less than indicator. I'm going to say EMA. I'm going to change this to the 100. I don't know, just to see. It definitely keeps us in. Still doesn't perform very well. I don't know. I would play around with it. Play around and see if there's a particular length that it jives with. If you use the 30, your win rate goes up to 44%. I'm saying use the 30 as your stop. Price closing below it. If we go to 50, it's 11%. So you have a better win rate when you're using a lower EMA. So then we start playing around and seeing if we can like form fit it. And 25 doesn't work all that great. Let's try like the, I don't know, 15. See if that works. The problem is we're simply buying, we're only buying the cross up, right? So like in order for this to get us into trades where that cross up has to occur, which is going to impact the performance of the strategy because we're looking for the cross up. So maybe instead of having this cross up here, maybe we just remove the cross up. We say price is above the 5, price is above the 50 or whatever. Like you just have to play around with it and see. But all of that to say, this is how you might establish what moving averages work the best. Because different names trade different ways. You know, different moving averages work differently on different names. So, y'all, the final minutes are here. If you want to get in a guess for NVDA earnings, we're looking for the price, the opening price tomorrow morning. I'm going to give you guys 5 more minutes, 6 more minutes. 6 more minutes. There are 38 of you here, and I do not have 38 guesses. So if you want to guess, potentially win a prize, now's the time. Get your guesses in. I'm curious to know what you guys think is going to happen. Let's look at the volume on the 5-minute candle on NVDA. It's increasing. How are we looking on the indices? They're gaining too. Not looking bad. think we might be in for a bit of a move, y'all. I do. Let's go back real quick and see potential swing ideas. Let's also check NASDAQ here real quick. I'm just curious now. CRM insider selling, dude, every day. Benioff sells millions of dollars, like every day. I wouldn't think anything of it, but that's just me. That man is a rich, rich man. BBIO. BZ. I don't know what that is. ENPH is meeting that criteria today. Front door. That's interesting. ENPH looking awful strong today. Crocs. Peloton is meeting this criteria today. Interesting. Pinduoduo also. Looks like we had some ideas on Pinduoduo. They didn't quite get to our target down here. That's okay. WSC. Interesting. This is like new all-time highs over here. Last week, looks like. RELY. XP. Yeah, so some of these look better than others, but that should get you thinking about it a little bit. Hold up. Who is her, Daniel? Her CRM position is 130 calls. Who's that? Who's her? Yeah, so the age-old wisdom when it comes to insider buying and selling is that insiders sell for any number of reasons. Insiders buy usually for one. Yeah, see, Mark is selling $500,000 a day pretty much every single day. Can you guys imagine that? Like, what is his life like? You got options expiry on a bunch of names. But yeah, I mean, Benioff's been doing this for a long time. You can see. He just sells and sells and sells and sells and sells. The man does not like to hold stocks. I mean, literally, he's selling every single day. $500,000. Like, what? I mean, it's not every day, but it's ridiculous. That's insane. Oh, Pelosi is holding 130 calls. Interesting. Are you saying 130 calls for 210? Is that what you're saying? She owns 130 contracts for the 210 call for January expiry, January next year expiry. Is that what you're saying? Got it. Well, I know that CRM does not like to miss. Whether or not that will result in a positive reaction, I don't know. But I know that they tend to not like to miss. Ulta. I mean, these makeup names have been super, super strong. Elf is the one I've been watching. ELF Beauty. Seems like every day they're making a new all-time high. But let's see. Yeah, we would call that a leap. I mean, it's really, I guess, I don't know. I don't know what the technical criteria of a leap is, if I'm really honest. Maybe January wouldn't be leaps. I mean, it's pretty much a leap. It's September. It's basically September. But let me go back to Ulta real quick and see. Yeah, this is tricky, dude. Let me go to the monthly. Monthly does not look lovely to me. and nor does this. Yeah, so the reason why this is tricky to me is because we made a new high, and then we made a new low, and then we failed the high, and then we're holding the low. So, I don't know. This could end up being like a giant topping pattern. And there's so much that would have to happen for me personally to want to trade this. Like, price would have to move quite a bit. I don't love this, though. Now, if they go and they make a new all-time high, then yeah, maybe we could talk about it. 430, I mean, it's really not that far away. You're talking about $20, $25. So I would let earnings play out, see what earnings do. If it has a huge move, then that tells you something. But right now, it looks kind of diamond toppy to me. Kind of like that. I mean, it's not exact science. We're not scientists here. But that's kind of what it looks like to me. This kind of looks like distribution to me. And I would just be worried about what has happened in the past. Back in 2019, I'd be worried about something like that happening again. Whether or not it will, who knows? But tough to trade it here. I mean, it's right at a pretty important spot. This 415 area has been trouble. You can see how many times it's wicked into that 415 area. So it's either going to gain. If it does, if it makes a new high, then, you know, we just look for a pullback. And that pullback could take, you know, a day to come. It could take weeks to come. You just never really know. But that's what I would do. If we're able to break and make new highs, then I would just wait, let it come back in if I were interested in a long here. And then you would be trading it off of these lows, 376. Meaning 376 would kind of be around where your stop would be. That's kind of where my head would be at on it. $153. All of the guesses are in. No more guesses. I am accepting no more guesses. But we're going to the NVDA chart here, and we're watching the end of the day. Anybody know what time they report? Did they report like right after the bell? Be sweet if they did. Yeah, I mean, I'm anxious to see that too. Tesla at $300 versus Tesla at $900 is going to make it a lot more tradable, right? People are going to be way more able to, like, the options change are going to become quite more affordable. You can kind of look at it and see, huh, it's coming back for lows of day. Interesting. Yeah, I don't know, man. Tesla's not looking super great to me. I don't like that it did not make a new high relative to this one. Would have liked to have seen a new high there. Doesn't mean they can't make it tomorrow, but you know, if they were gonna, they should have made it on this push right here, and they didn't. I guess they don't. Shoulda is maybe not the right word, but you'd think that they would have gotten it, but they didn't. So if they lose, if they go lower and they lose this, I'll be looking somewhere around $800, which split adjusted, that's what, like 270? Oh, NVDA reports at 5? Aw, man. Tim, you're late. Should I let Tim's guess count? I cut off the guesses, Tim. But if I get a couple of votes in your favor, if people want to let you add your vote, I'll add it. So we're going to let the hive mind decide. Do you guys want to let Tim's vote count? You tell me. Daniel says yes. Go, Tim. First yes or no to 3. We got 2 for yes. If we get 1 more yes, it counts. If we get 3 no's, it doesn't count. Yes. All right. It counts. We're adding it. Thank you for that, guys. All right. Let's see. Tim S says 188. Oh, I have to do mine. Shoot. Man, I want the market to go up. I'm going to say 200. And I am at the very top here. Oh, no, I'm not. Rob, you got 205. I know, I missed the deadline, but I make the rules. I do what I want. And we all vote no. Thanks, y'all. If it's $200 on the dot, I will forfeit my win to the next closest guess. If it's 200 on the dot. All right, I'm gonna hold you to that, Daniel. I'm gonna hold you to that. Well, all right. So then, what about CRM? What time do they report? Because I'm not gonna be here at 5. CRM closing in on highs of day. CRM looking strong. So the question is, did they just pump it into the end of day to dump it on retail after hours? You get a raise, we win a prize. Yep. We got 2 minutes till market closes. Market's selling off a little bit here into the end of the day. SPY failing. Interesting. This might it'll be interesting to see where we go tomorrow. Q's selling. IWM is definitely the strongerest of the gang. Ooh, coming into those lows. Stopping some folks out. Cruel. Ooh, really selling now. Interesting. Interesting indeed. Markets are spooked. But really, what are they doing? They're coming back to important technical levels, aren't they? And they're finding support at them. SPY is real nice. Qs desperately need to hold this low. They need to put in a higher low. IWM caught about where you'd expect it to. Give or take a few bucks, or a few pennies rather. And a big buyback. Look at the volume on the buyback. All right, we're going to CRM here. Does anybody know what time CRM reports? Ooh, ugly. What did they do? They broke it. Oh. On the 1 minute chart, a dollar move looks terrifying. I guess it's a $2 move. Interesting. I doubt that they didn't announce earnings yet, did they? Let's do this. Go to news. Oh, Snowflake earnings today too. Interesting. All right, so let's look at Snow real quick. Everything's selling off end today. They might be just trying to scare folks. If anybody knows what time CRM reports, do let me know. I guess I could look for it too. All I'm finding is aftermarket close. Past couple announcements have been beats, though. Oh, Autodesk. ADSK. Whew. Dang. Dang. Quarterly earnings, $165 per share, which beat by 5.1%. This is a 36.36% increase over earnings of $1.21 per share from the same time last year. Baller. Hope some of y'all were in ADSK. That was a pretty move. They bought back that whole little down move there on CRM. Did not hold the low. Interesting. Is anybody able to find what time Salesforce earnings are? I can't seem to find it. Ah, excuse me. Yeah, just after the bell. I'm sure we'll find out soon. I could check. Let me check here. See if I see anything. Whoa, well, they've announced. Holy guacamole, look at that. What a, wow, crazy. Let me do something here. Let's see. So watch snow. Okay, so snow rocking after hours here. Snow big move, 160 to 180 almost. And going higher. This has to be faring well for the Qs. Yeah, they cannot decide on CRM. Market is not sure. They were very decisive on snow. Dang, look at snow go. Interesting. Salesforce kind of selling off here. 175. Algos are freaking out. This does not look good for Salesforce, though. $72. Yee. Yikes. Salesforce, they're not liking it. Let's go to the daily here. They're loving it on snow, and they're not liking it on Salesforce. Salesforce desperately needs to hold this 163 or so area. You do not want to see it lose 163 if you are bullish on Salesforce. Snow trading 182 from 160 close. Dang. Snow making new highs, relative highs after hours. It's a good sign. Want to see it up and over this bad boy. So what's Q's doing then? Q's after hours. A little strength. A little strength. Not a ton, but a little. Look at this, right into those highs. Will they gain them? Will they fail them? I would imagine this first test might fail. But we will see. CRM still selling? Sure is. It's like yin-yang charts over here. Look at this. This is insane. Snow, quarter two, 497.2 million estimated. 467. So the estimate was 497 and they did 467? And they're gaining like this? What? Salesforce was 129 estimate. They actually did 120. Estimated sales were 7.83 billion versus 8.07 estimated. Oh no, I'm sorry. They did 7.82 billion versus the 8.07 estimate. So they miss. So now we'll see how their guidance is. Hold on. Salesforce posted double beat. I'm reading over here on Benzinga. I see the 10 billion buyback. But Benzinga says EPS was 120 versus 129 estimated. Benzinga also says sales were 7.82 billion versus 8.07 estimated. So, Lori, where did you get this information? Because we have differing information here. Does Snow Move help PLTR? Well, Snow is cybersecurity, right? PLTR is like data collection. You copied it from a TrendSpider tweet. Oh, man. That's kind of funny. Interesting. Okay, so yeah. So actually, check this out right here. The first bit of news at 5 past does say exactly what you said. But then the second bit of news, 3 minutes later, hasn't adjusted. So sees quarter 3 adjusted, and this is just quarter. Hold on. I don't know what the difference is here. Because this says quarter 2. Is this quarter 3 or quarter 2? This is quarter 3, right? I don't know. I don't know which one of these is right, but based off of the reaction, I would assume that this second one, the one that came out 3 minutes later, is the correct one. That's what I would assume. NVDA, there's nothing on NVDA yet. Oh, sadness. Y'all, I'd love to stick around an extra half hour, but I don't know. Look at how well they respected this previous high, though. 187.23. I mean, nice little reaction off of it. Whether it'll actually play, who knows? But yeah, NVDA have 5. Lame. Why can't they just report like a normal time, like everybody else does? NVDA got to be different. All right, so some housekeeping stuff. Let's do some housekeeping. We like to keep house around here. Okay, so for housekeeping, friends, comrades. Oh, nice. Sadie, thanks. Producer Sadie hooked us up with a Google form for the giveaway. Dang, I'm sorry, I'm just seeing that now. I would have used it, but we'll look at it tomorrow, and I'll be back up. I'll be back live on Friday. And if you guys do this, shoot me a follow on Twitter. There. Yeah, it's over there. It's right there. Yeah, I'm not very good at doing this, but you see my Twitter handle right there at Krutzky Trades. Shoot me a follow there if you would like to follow me, and I'll shout out the big winner tomorrow on the NVDA trade, and we'll figure something out for you. So updates, or housekeeping rather. First housekeeping item is our Discord. We have a Discord. Some of you guys may not like Discord. Some of you guys may love Discord. I don't know. But there's a link to the TrendSpider Discord. Come hang out. Meet other TrendSpider users. Share your ideas. Chart ideas, scan ideas, those sorts of things. Love to see you there. Second thing, anybody who is not a TrendSpider user already, I know that most of you are, but if you're not already, we'd love to have you. Here's 25% off to make that purchase decision a little bit easier for yourself. Next thing, tomorrow night. Oh no, Daniel, I don't know what you just sent. Oh, all caps. What'd you do, Daniel? NVDA reports in 5 minutes. Sweet. We're going to watch it. Tomorrow night, we're going to be hanging out with Jermaine. Jermaine is at Cyberdog2 on Twitter. The dude is good vibes. I love the energy from Jermaine. We're going to be hanging out tomorrow night live, 8 p.m. Eastern time, right here on the TrendSpider YouTube page. We're going to be talking shop about the markets, and he's going to be taking your chart requests. So if you're interested in getting Jermaine's take on the tickers that you're watching, and specifically, Jermaine is a strat trader. Don't know if any of you guys trade the strat or are interested in trading the strat. But Jermaine is a strat trader. So his philosophy is the strat. And he's going to be kind of giving us a little once over on how he looks at charts. And he's going to be giving you his thoughts on any chart that you request that wins the voting. So it's voting only. You can vote for 3 tickers per round. We usually get through about 15, anywhere from like 15 to 30 tickers in the hour-long show. Yeah, we'd love to see any or all of you guys there. So please join us tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Eastern, right here, TrendSpider TV. Me and Jermaine. And that's all the housekeeping for me. I'm going to come back, though. I'm going to be back live on Friday. We're watching NVDA. It's right here. It's at the top. I got snow at the bottom. I got NVDA at the top. We're watching it. I'm going to be back on Friday because on Friday, our good friend, our old reliable pal, Mr. Jerome Powell, is going to be gracing us with his words. Hopefully he says good things. He's going to be in Jackson Hole. Jackson Hole's a lovely place. I've never been there. Got some friends that live there. I hear it's great. The snowboarding competitions there are cool. Maybe the beautiful landscape will inspire Jerome to say something awesome that will make the markets rip. That's what I'm hoping for. Whether or not that happens, I don't know. But that's what I'm hoping for. And I'm going to be live to talk about it with y'all. Regardless of what he says. Maybe he says something awesome. Maybe he says something terrible. I don't know what he's going to say. But we're going to be paying attention. We're going to be watching. And we're going to be live on Friday. I don't have a time yet. I don't know what time we're going to go live on Friday. I need to find out what time he's speaking. Whatever time he's speaking, I'm probably going to go live like 15 minutes before that. So if you want to give me a follow, on my Twitter, I will also let you guys know what time I'm going live as soon as I know. And we can talk about it. We've already got some sweet graphics worked up for it. I don't know if you guys, I don't know if anybody's paid attention to, oh, he speaks at 10. Okay, perfect. So then I'm going to be live like at 9:30. It's going to be really early for me because I'm in Colorado. It's going to be like 7:30 in the morning. So I might be a little groggy, but I'm going to be there. I want to give a big shout out. We're coming to the end here. I want to give a big shout out to our meme master general, Ryan. Everybody give Ryan a golf clap. I don't think Ryan watches these, but we're going to give Ryan a golf clap for just creating the most epic, amazing stills for these live streams. And I was on Hodor's back yesterday, or on Monday. I don't know if you guys saw that, but my God, it was amazing. Today's also amazing. Yes, thank you, Britsu. Thank you. Thank you. Big props to Ryan. Parker helps with those too. You guys seeing this? This old high? See how important these old highs are? Highs and lows, so important. Lori, thank you, thank you. Yes, yes, yes. I'm gonna deliver the message to Ryan that he received some golf claps for his excellent meme ability. Oh, NVDA! No! Uh-oh. All right. Uh-oh, guys. I think I just lost. Ah, there we go. Props from the TrendSpider team, too. But guys, this is not good. NVDA. Rut-row. All right, so we don't really care too much about snow anymore. Let's go all in here on NVDA and take a look. Take stock of where we're at and what we need to be worried about here. Okay, so for me, my line in the sand is right here. 153. It certainly can recover. Kathy Woods sold NVDA yesterday. Well, darn it. If she sold it yesterday, it should go up, Peter. Isn't that how it works? She has to capitulate and then it can move. Madhukar, thank you for the golf clap. I'm rooting for NVDA here. I want to see NVDA win. This, I feel like this might affect the Qs. Let's see. Q is still okay. Still doing okay. I don't know how much NVDA takes up in the Qs. Yeah, see, Lori, we think alike. She's the new, what's his name? She's the new Kramer. Let's go, NVDA. We're rooting for NVDA. Reported quarterly earnings of 51 cents per share, which missed the analyst consensus estimate by $1.25. Oh, it missed the analyst consensus estimate of $1.25. Yo, they missed by 75 cents? Yikes. That's a 50.96% decrease over earnings of $1.04 per share from the same quarter last year. I mean, honestly, it's not responding that poorly to that information, which is pretty surprising. That's a huge miss. Sales, 6.7 billion versus 8.1 billion estimate. And the thing's trading only $1 lower. That's crazy. Is this real? Are we going to get a revised thing here in 3 minutes that tells us something totally different? Is that what you guys are seeing on your end? Yeah, I mean, this is kind of a muted reaction. No, man, if Kathy sells, this thing's going higher. Come on, let's fight for this. We want NVDA to go up. I know that a bunch of you voted for it to go down. But don't we want stocks to go higher? No, I do. Where is it? Trading 172 now. 171.5. Let's see who's close. Daniel, you're kind of close so far. I mean, there's a whole night to go. A lot can change between now and tomorrow's open. I kind of don't think I'm going to get my target. But that's okay. I didn't want to win. I want you guys to win. I mean, if this is right, I don't know. Why would NVDA affect Tesla? Should NVDA affect Tesla? I don't know. What's going to affect Tesla is the stock split. NVDA is actually holding up so far. It definitely didn't do what Snow did, right? Snow just ripping and holding. CRM got ripped and holding. NVDA is pretty muted. I mean, truly, pretty muted. This thing closed at, what did it close at? Like 172? It's trading 172. The only thing that I can assume here is that this was baked in. What does it say? Right, I just remembered. They led with this news like a month ago, didn't they? Or at least a couple weeks ago, they said our earnings are going to be bad. LM is close, 174.5. Brandon M, 174. Daniel Magnuson, 173.5. Yeah, so maybe a lot of it was baked in. Maybe market said, yeah, we know. Starting to sell a little bit now. Well, it's going to be interesting to see where this goes. And I would love to hang out here all night and talk to you guys about it. But my time has come and my time is going. So I'm going to get out of here. Yeah, so tomorrow night, again, we're live with Jermaine, 8 p.m. Eastern, here on TrendSpider TV. That's the live charting show. Peter, I'm not sure, man. I don't love the look of Tesla right now, personally. I don't love it. I have no idea what's going to happen tomorrow. I have no idea. But we'll definitely take a look at it on Friday. So yeah, tomorrow, actually, we'll probably take a look at it tomorrow with Jermaine too. I bet it gets requested. So yeah, tomorrow, 8 p.m. Eastern, TrendSpider TV, right here on YouTube, live with Jermaine. He is at Cyberdog2 on Twitter. If you want to give him a follow, get to know him real quick before we do this show. Great guy, great energy. Love the guy. He's awesome. We'll be back on Friday for this Powell Speak. That's going to be at 10 a.m. Eastern time. I'm going to go live a few minutes before that. I'll probably be live like 7:30, or that's 7:30 my time. I'll be live like 9:30 a.m. Eastern time on Friday. We'll watch the Powell speak. We'll see what he decides he wants to say. And that's it for me, guys. So again, thank you so much to everybody for tuning in. It's been awesome hanging out with y'all. I'm anxious to see who our big winner is tomorrow on NVDA. Please give me a follow on Twitter if you're on Twitter. My Twitter handle is right there in the little bar at Krutzky Trades. I will shout out the winner tomorrow morning on the Open. And that's it. I hope you guys have a great evening. Thank you for being here. It's going to be you, UFC. I hope so. I hope so. Actually, I don't know. I hope whoever... I want you all to win. You're all winners to me. You voted. You're winners. Yeah. I'm going to get out of here. Enough blabbing. See you guys tomorrow. Have a great rest of your day. Bye.